Sehr gut. Sehr gut.
I'm a time traveler from the year 2025, and I've come here to kill you, Hitler.
Oh, not again. I'm never gonna have enough time to finish these paintings with all of these time travelers trying to kill me.
Well, I'm going to succeed.
Before you pull the trigger, can I just ask why? Why do all of you people want to kill me?
Isn't it obvious? I'm a progressive, a liberal, a fighter for social justice. And you are a fascist who implemented a reign of terror. And while the effects of your policies devastated the world for decades, soon we will be able to take back the White House, and we will be able to use the government to force people to follow our great ideas.
You want to use government power to force your ideas on the populace. Me too! That's fantastic!
What? No. Ugh. You and I have nothing in common. What I'm saying is there are people in our time with dangerous ideas, and we need to silence them.
Silencing those who disagree with you. I do that too! Oh, wunderbar! Oh, the Nazi movement will not die with me.
Don't give me that! I'm enlightened, and you're as bad as... well, as Hitler. Listen, what I'm trying to say is we are very close to implementing a utopia, as long as we can get rid of some certain undesirable people groups.
Yes, like the Jews.
Yes, like the Jews. Oh.
So, in the future,
Oh.
you also do not like the Jews?
Well, no. But we don't believe in segregating all the races like you do. I mean, except for, like, graduation ceremonies. In dorms. And hiring practices. Oh, and admissions policies. That sort of thing.
I, too, am a fan of the segregation. I'm sorry, I have to ask, is this a real firearm, or is this some kind of toy for kids?
It's a flare gun. I'm trying not to support America's toxic gun culture. I'm a firm believer in gun control.
Gun control! This was one of my ideas, too. Ban them from the undesirables. Yes, look here. Oh, and your shirt. This is an organization founded by Margaret Sanger. Yes?
Wait, you know about Margaret Sanger?
Jawohl, of course. Oh, she's such a lovely person.
No. She's a fighter for reproductive rights, for women's empowerment,
And the eradication of undesirable populations by means of eugenics. Brilliant lady, very inspiring. I must use some of her ideas in our socialized healthcare system.
Socialized healthcare? That's not your thing. That's our thing.
No, it's very much my thing. Did you know that Nazi means National Socialist German Workers' Party? Nazi is just more catchy. Nazi. Just rolls off the tongue.
No. This can't be true. This has to be some sort of mistake. We are nothing alike. You're Adolf Hitler, evil right-wing fascist dictator, and I'm a feminist restorative justice advocate. And a vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian? Me too!
Okay, I am so confused right now. I came here with a clear goal in mind to kill the most evil man to have ever lived. Besides Ronald Reagan. But now that I'm meeting you in person, you're not at all what I thought you were. And your painting is actually really good. What do you call it?
I call it Ein Reich ohne Juden.
Wow. I don't know what that means, but it sounds beautiful.
It does, doesn't it?
Hey guys, welcome to the program. Did you grow up during the era? You remember Clara Peller? Do you happen to remember Clara Peller? Where's the beef? Wanting to know where the beef patties were in the hamburgers. What was that, Jack in the Box and the battle between Jack in the Box and Burger King or something else? I don't know. Or Wendy's. No, it was Wendy's, wasn't it? Where's the beef? Little old lady became a rock star. I think before that, we had Rodney Allen Ripley. Remember him? Anyway, I think there was Jack in the Box was pretty big at the time. And they had this little bitty wimpy burger. And Clara Peller comes in and says, "Where's the beef?" And it was to, promote the Wendy's hamburger. Let me tell you what I'm doing. And this show will kind of be factual. It's me that has the questions. It's me. So this program today is all about me. Seriously. I'm going to, get Mikey. He'll eat anything. That's what you give Clara Peller on her 100th birthday. But anyway, I have questions. I know you have questions. I have questions. And there's just things I do not understand. And that I consider myself reasonably smart. And I just want to try to figure out these things. But I got to tell you, I'm stumped. I'm totally stumped. And I don't get it. And so I need your help. That's why it took a little bit longer for the program starting. I'm just getting certain things that I'm just trying to understand and put together. And I'm just being honest with you, I'm having a hard time. So I want to see if I share with you what I'm struggling with, that maybe in chat across all the platforms, you can help me just understand what I'm looking at. Fair enough? Just understand what the hell I'm looking at. Okay. With that said, we're going to dive into this thing that's trending, coming up, going up again. And I'm seeing people that I care about and respect posting this. And it honestly bugs me a bit. What are all of us not seeing? And here's kind of a direct quote. And I'm the words matter guy, but here you go. Listen, 2020 election and the 2024 election was that computers operating in Serbia were not blocked in 2020, but were blocked in 2024, allowing an accurate count of the actual 2024 presidential votes. Now, I want you to understand how much power you have. Okay? I want you to understand how much power you personally have. When this started floating out, that votes were being changed in Serbia and they had protected the 2024 election, I pointed out to you, okay, let me get this straight. You saved the presidential spot, but you let the down ticket be stolen. You remember me saying that? You saved the presidential spot, but you allowed the down ticket to be stolen. Put it in chat if you remember me saying that, right? Reminds me too, I infiltrated Antifa. Here's the deal. I said, okay, so these white hat hackers supposedly saved President Trump's vote, but they didn't do anything regarding the down ticket. Do you remember that? Do you remember me saying that? Now, this story, since doing that, because the word gets out. No, you're the key to all of this. The word gets out. Remember I told you that? And by the way, thank you guys for every one of you reposting the stream, because when you repost this stream, you're getting the word out, right? And I said, why would they save the top of the ticket and then watch the rig happen on the bottom of the ticket? And then the question is, how do you do that when the vote on a ballot is all simultaneously? Now, I want to show you something, because this is very key, and this is why I'm calling out questions. And that whole story has now morphed. That whole story has now morphed. Now listen, saying in the 2020 election and the 2024 election was that computers operating in Serbia were not blocked in 2020, were blocked in 2024, allowing an accurate count of the actual 2024 presidential votes. That's interesting because that's not what they were saying weeks or months ago. So it has now been upgraded to say the actual 2024 presidential votes. Yes, the people that rigged this watch everything I do and say. Because you are so active and you are so diligent, and because you are the smartest patrons in the room, they flex to us. And you're now watching the word flex. An accurate count of the actual 2024 presidential votes. So this is where my problem is. And we're going to go through this problem. And I'm going to show it to you as I see it. Just read things to you that I have a disconnect. You watched it right there. They have now started inserting, well, the presidential vote. See, I don't think you have to, in any story, any news, any facts, you don't have to morph your story to match the dialogue, do you? It's either the truth or it's not, and you're telling the truth from the beginning. Why do you have to now try to qualify it better? So that's what kind of tipped me off to this. And I'm going to give you an example. I think this is the post. And by the way, if I post any wrong ones today, sorry, there's just so much to go through. Like I just posted one wrong because they're not labeled. You're going to have to bear with me. Here's what happened. Somebody posted the absolute proof photo, but they doctored it up and said the right thing. Absolute lie. Because, see, people were circulating this thing again, that was an act of treason in the United States and an act of war over there. This is a recirculation. Okay? And in that post, which I see them, especially when you tag me, I see them. I may not be able to reply to every one of them, but I do see them. Now, here's what was posted. This fellow, Guy Smith, which has a whopping 858 followers, following 24 people. Okay? Here's what Guy Smith said to that post. Dominion has a headquarters in Belgrade, Serbia. You've been hearing this. And this is where the last-minute manipulations happened in 2020 and almost happened in 2024. That is a fact. We have the emails from Dominion proving it. But he happened to add, I have no interest in talking to Jovan about it, though. Thanks. Now, I had to wonder, why did he put that footnote? I have no interest in talking to Jovan about it, though. And I basically said, I didn't see this post first. I said, hey, come on, let's talk about it. Right? You be whatever. This would be great. You'd be a rock star. And then I saw, he said, well, this is what it is, and it's a fact, and I have the emails proving it, but I'm not going to talk to Jovan about it, though. And so I kind of replied to him, well, Guy, see, you mentioned my name before I saw this post. Why is that? You would be a heralded world tech rock star showing the proof. I say step up and grab your glory and show the world. Why not? Right? Why not? And just so you know, I've reached out to people to discuss this. Nobody has accepted. Don't think I'm just sitting behind the scenes. I've reached out. Conveniently, nobody's accepted. Now, here's interesting. I looked for this guy after I invited him because I look at everybody's profile when they do that. Here's Guy's profile. Guy Smith, 1713057, just kind of a junk account, right? joined in June 2023. He's following 24 people, but here's what's more interesting. He's got 858 followers. But look down at the bottom. I saw something that kind of went, who's following this guy? And it says one of the ones following this account is the Lone Raccoon. Who said he knows and worked with Jovan in Parsons? Hang on. Okay, got it now. But you see where it says Lone Raccoon at the bottom. So I'm going, this is a no-name account. No-name account. No banner, no name. It's basically what's called a truncated account. It's a quick setup one where actually Twitter assigns the name. But damned, isn't it interesting? It's followed by a person who follows this person. See, I don't follow an account unless it has something to add. Why would you follow an account? Has something to add to elections, is something interested in the outdoors or whatever the case may be, or has an incredible body. Anyway, you know what I mean, right? You follow accounts for reasons. Why would they follow this odd account? So I looked at the followers. Come to find out, this account is followed by the Lone Raccoon, Sean Smith, who basically told everybody, don't do anything with the voter rolls. It's like sweeping a dirt floor. Razzie Berry, right, which is fine, but she's a moderator on Twitter. Yehuda, I know, David Clements, and others. Now, that tells me a lot. Why would these people, just out of curiosity, follow a no-name account? And why would that account have the requirement? Well, this is it was done in Serbia, and of course, I'm not going to talk to Jovan about it. Doesn't that strike you as weird? So these are kind of the things we're going to go through. Get a piece of paper, mark it down. Tell me in chat what you think about odd or whatever, but I think that's really odd. Why would somebody come out with incredible breaking confirmation information textation, but they have a caveat, but I'm not going to talk to Jovan about it. See, what it does for me is like Carrie Lake's trial. And what happened there every time truth could come out, but it was suppressed. But also on the other side, when I saw court documents being filed in that case, and I saw the things about people, their voter registration not matching the signature on the ballot, that particular work that was being done by Shelby Bush, who's been elevated now in Arizona politics. I reached out to Shelby and I said, look, I recognize some of these signatures. I'm telling you, those come from county employees. Just send me your rejections. I don't need your big ass list. Just send me every signature that you find the signed signature doesn't match the voter registration. I don't even need to know who it is. Just send me your rejects. I kept on pushing, kept on pushing. And eventually she says, well, we've been told we can't, right? We've been told we can't work with you. They allowed us to look at them as long as we never showed them to you. Well, the problem is the system knows that every piece of paper, every document, every chain of custody, everything that ever happened in Arizona, we ingested it and taught computer systems to read it. So I actually know everybody's signature. Now, the reason I wanted them is I'm sitting back here being honest, going, holy shit. Holy shit. These envelopes were signed by county contractors or employees. So why would the very person who got her the stuff, Randy Pullum, the very person that was trying not to do the Arizona audit, became the spokesperson for the Arizona audit, did all kinds of crap and took one of the books, right? So we didn't know the final numbers. The same person's involved again. And I'm going, What the fuck? Anyway, I could never get that. I thought it was monumental or whatever. And so for me, I don't really give a fuck what they think about me. I'm not here to impress them. I'm only here to vet these things out, provide some logic so we can find our own stuff. So fuck it. I don't really care what they think about me. But now I need your help. I need your help. Are you seeing kind of some of the weird inconsistencies that I'm seeing? And that's what we're going to be discussing today. And I need your feedback in chat. You're going to need to be active in chat because I want to see what you think about it. And I want to see, maybe you see something I don't see and you can help correct me. Or have I gone down a deep ass rabbit hole that I cannot get my ass out of? Share this program. We'll get started right after this.
Don't fuck with a fucked up fucker that doesn't give a single solitary fuck. This motherfucker's so far gone on the fuck off scale. They're practically a goddamn legend in the art of not giving a single flying fuck. Their fucks are so non-existent, you need a fucking microscope. Each step they take is a monument to the majesty of not giving a fuck. They walk into a room and the atmosphere shifts, charged with the sheer unadulterated power of fuck off. People whisper, "That's the one, the motherfucker who ran out of fucks to give." So if you ever find yourself with half this colossal titan of fucklessness, just remember, you're in the presence of royalty, the kind of royalty that sits upon a throne of broken fucks, waving their scepter of shit not given with a grace that make lesser beings weak. But beware, for challenging such a fucker invites a shitstorm of indifference so fierce, it'll make you choke on your own goddamn fucks. And let's be real here, you can't afford that shit. Nobody's got that many fucks to spare. Keep fucking shit up and spread chaos like a boss.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians? The elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd. Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, JovanHuttonPulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, JovanHuttonPulitzer.
Okay, folks, welcome to the program. You know why I have a warning at the top of my show is because I sometimes use bad language. And I kind of think about, people turn away, oh my God, bad language or whatever. I've really had to have a soul searching over that. And I've come to the conclusion.
I don't give a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore. I don't give a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore.
Sing it with me.
I don't give a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore. I don't give a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore.
So I'm trying to find, and this is for me. Call it my therapy, whatever the case may be. This is for me. And it always kind of happens to me about this time of year. I do a lot of soul searching. I do a lot of self reflection. And if you were to kind of watch me in my career, I literally dig deep to always ask, how can I get better? How can I be better? How can I be of more service to this world? How can I perform to the standards God wants me to perform? I never ask, oh, will people think me bad because I use a cuss word? That's so low on my radar, it doesn't even rank. I'm asking about, how can I change society? How can I make it, houses more affordable or do it right? How can we, right, fix our food issues or whatever? And so those little things I don't necessarily worry about. And that's why I can go from my very long, curly, soft, curly Jewish locks, and then one day I just shave my head. I'm just me no matter what. And I'm not going to wear my curls because everybody like them. When it finally gets too hot at night, I toss and turn, and I have to start wearing my hair in a ponytail because it just makes my neck too damn hot. I just shave it off my head. Then I don't have to screw with it anymore. I just fix it. I'm a problem solver, right? And so that's kind of how I'm wired. And I'm having, and like I said at the beginning of the program, I talked about like kind of where's the beef on this stuff. You remember that when a lot of us were younger, where's the beef? And I keep on hearing in the 2020 election, 2024 election, that computers operating in Serbia were not blocked in 2020, but they were blocked in 2024, allowing an accurate count of the actual 2024 presidential votes. Now, I want to make a statement in case you don't know it. Of course, our elections are rigged. You'd have to be blind, stupid, or an extreme liberal who doesn't care to think that that's not the case. Of course, the machines in various ways are involved. I just happen to think they're involved in different ways than most people think they're involved. Our elections are crap. Total crap. And yes, we should get rid of the machines, but getting rid of the machines is not, right, is not the answer because hand counting the ballots won't fix it. By the way, and unfortunately, all of my books in the world of publishing, because I do hardbound books, right? I really don't like paperbound books. And because I really like to put out high-end quality hardbound books, the only way you can do that anymore in the world is unfortunately Amazon bought the systems that are enabled to make hardbound books on demand. I don't have any other choice as a publisher, as a book company, right? And here are my choices. You can go to the old system. You can price out a book. Let's say they're 40, like one of them is $40 a piece to make, but you have to order 5,000 in advance to get that price. That makes no sense. And so publishing world has changed. It's not as simple as you think. People don't think about those things. And so, yes, it's technically a division of Amazon, but it's available through Amazon. I can't change it. There are no ways that you order directly through me. And I wouldn't put it on a website where you can order my book to make you think it came from me when I know you have a problem with Amazon. You have to decide what's more important, right? And that's kind of the world we live in. They've kind of triangulated everything in all of us. And by the way, I saw your questions in chat while we're getting ready for the show. One of the farm cats got attacked. I showed you the other day. Found him, has a little cat house. I guess that's what you would call it. And peeked in when I'm coming into the studio, peeked in the door. And he's just laying there all covered in black goo. Well, the black goo was a lot of dried blood. His name's Obi, O-B-E, really because his real name is Sinatra because he has pretty blue eyes. But you don't call a cat Sinatra. So I call him Obi, blue eyes. Anyway, didn't know if he'd make it. I thought maybe he'd have to come to air with me because I was holding him to keep him out of shot. He's done well. He survived through the night. He's only got up twice. He's drinking a little bit of milk. But here is what I think so far we're dealing with. It looks like his bottom teeth are gone. His little tiny bottom teeth are gone. He was in a hell of a fight, but now that I've been able to work with him and look at his body, here is what I know happened. He got hit by an owl head on. And so the owl's claws pierced the back of his face and one neck, and then pierced the top of the back and under one arm, or in the side of one arm at the shoulder like this. And then the owl hit him head on and scalped him. Bit in the head and pulled all of his scalp off down between his eyes. So it's just down to the skull cap. And so that's what it is. You can tell by the wounds because they can make a particular curve. It's in the wild, when an owl does this, I've tried several times to save a chicken that had gotten hit, and you can tell by the cuts in their back. I had one that I sequestered for 2 months. Got hit, had the slashes in the back. I mean, a chicken, slashes in the back, feathers gone. You can always kind of tell because there's this kind of scratching event. Healed her up, put her back out. She got hit again. Lucky it didn't get her. Healed her up over the 2 months, put her back out, and the owl got her. And so there's this weird phenomenon that once an owl hits something and doesn't get it, it's almost like the owl's pissed off and it's going to get it. So now Obi has earned a ticket to become a house cat. He's a rare red-tip flamed Siamese, which means he's white and he's got only red features, red tips and stuff. He just kind of showed up one day. But once you take responsibility for an animal, you take a responsibility for an animal. But he got hit by an owl head on and fought for his life. His eyes are now finally open. The blood caking is so caked, it can't really pull it off of him. And some of the wounds are pretty deep. So just packing them with antibiotics. We'll see how that does. If not, I'll begin giving him, farm shots for farm animals, antibiotics and stuff. But he's drinking milk and he's getting up. He got up once, and early this morning, which would probably be about 3 o'clock your time, he got up and walked around. So he survived the night. He'll be pampered for the rest of his life, but he'll also be traumatized for the rest of life. And I'm kind of at it, animals should be animals. So he'll end up being a house animal, right? And somebody said milk isn't good for cats. I had a choice. He's not eating and he won't drink water. So I pulled out half and half and started giving him droppers of half and half so I could at least get some nutrition in him. And that brought him through the day. And if he shits all over the place, I'll take a shitting cat for a while over a dead cat any day. And so that's the status of Obi. And speaking of crap, I just kind of want to unpack this. And you're right. Whatever they consume to get them on their feet, I don't care if it's a burger. I'm going to get them on their feet. If you are an animal owner, it has your responsibility. And I take that responsibility seriously. And even if your animals are getting frail and dying, I don't believe you let them keep on getting old and their teeth falling out and they can't move. You do what's right and you euthanize your animal because you love them. Now, I've been known before, I'll tell you this, about 35 years ago, I had a stray cat that I adopted. And I didn't know that when they close their eye, they kind of have an infection. I had no idea. I just thought it was a barn cat. When I finally got a hold of the cat and I kind of opened its eye, there was a hole down through its eyeball. It did eaten through the cornea stuff. I mean, I'm talking a hole, like a pustule hole. I'm going like, holy smoke. I take this cat to the vet. And the vet goes, wow, it's going to, that infection basically ate through the cornea of their eye down into their eyeball, and it's just going to lose the eye. I couldn't suffer that. So I went to an eye surgeon. An eye surgeon. True story. I found this little eye surgeon. Asian fellow, not that that matters. And I said, I'll pay you. I know it's because nobody can do this. Will you take off some of his cornea from the other eye And will you move it to this eye and cover the hole? Because see, the hole was the problem. It was probably about the size of a small pencil eraser. I kid you not. And I convinced him to do it, truly. And he, sure enough, put the cat to sleep stuff, went into the other eye, took off some of the cornea, the lens, came to the next eye and patched it over it. And not only did it work, and it was a little cloudy at first, but it healed up and his eyes were totally fine, right? Totally fine. And he she lived an incredible life. I did this for her because she got in the house when she wanted to have kittens. This was at our family's way back when Virginia place in Middleburg, Virginia. And she crawled in my underwear drawer and had her kittens. Her name was Soxy. Anyway, I just had to do it for her. I had, you're responsible for them, did it. So that cornea transplant worked on a cat. I've done all kinds of stupid ass shit like that. But you have to, if you have an animal, it's your responsibility to do that. So that's the update on Obi. Okay, we're going to start going through this stuff about, I just want to know, where's the proof? You help me see it. I got to tell you, there's so much I have here I just want to ask on. You just tell me what you see, okay? So here's the first one. I don't even really know what it is because these are not labeled on my system. We'll see. So we got Lindell TV posting the following. And I'm going to show you all of these in succession, and then we're going to talk about it. And this is Lindell TV. Patrick Byrne revealed Smartmatic's original systems were built around an office in Belgrade, Serbia, nearly 20 years ago. From there, results could be changed remotely after all the ballot stuffing and local fraud. I'm going to read that again. Words matter. Patrick Byrne revealed Smartmatic's original systems were built around an office in Belgrade, Serbia, nearly 20 years ago. From there, results could be changed remotely after the ballot stuffing and local fraud. Patrick says it's their ace in a hole. And he says if their candidate still does not win, they flip the switch from Serbia. So let's look at the action words in that, shall we? Is that okay? Let's just look at the action words in it. Now, remember, all I'm doing is I'm asking, where is the evidence? And will it change everything? And let's just have an open discussion, okay? What are the action words in this, okay? Anyway, it says 20 years ago, Belgrade, Serbia. So here's my first question. If we knew this 20 years ago, you know what the rest of it is. If we knew this 20 years ago, why is this so 20 years ago? Let's go to the rest of it. The results could be changed remotely. If we knew the results could be changed remotely and we had proof, why are we still talking about it? Now combine that with it's so 20 years ago. Now let's look at the next action words. Remotely after all their ballot stuffing and local fraud. Now, let me ask you a question. Why would you need to change something if, in fact, you did ballot stuffing and local fraud? You understand what I'm saying? And I got to hand it to you guys. Every single person in the world has changed how they describe these things because of you becoming the smartest patriot in the room. They now say it's the machines with mail-in ballots and drop box. You follow what I'm saying? The entire election integrity world moves because of you and what you know, what you understand, and what you hold them to account to. So I just have a question. Why would they change votes remotely in combination with ballot stuffing and local fraud. Does anybody have a probability statement on that? I'm still trying to understand. But here's what is even more. It's their ace in the hole. If a candidate still does not win, they flip the switch from Serbia. Now, can we agree that is a definitive statement? That is an action-oriented definitive statement. Can we agree on that? It's an action-oriented definitive statement. If they're not winning, meaning they see everything, boom, they flip the switch. Now, let me ask you a question. If somebody flips a switch to modify the election, in order to make that statement, you would have to have seen it, know it, and understand how that happens, right? To say anything different might be a little bit misleading. So I'm taking it, wow, you mean somebody flips a switch? Am I right? Well, I've never seen that switch. And I asked for that switch, but nobody ever evidences the switch. Nobody ever evidences the switch. Now, Parson said, in the event of a real landslide, the locals didn't stuff enough ballots. Okay, I got that. So there's a plausible answer. You see how we do this? That's a plausible answer. They didn't do enough stuffing, so now they need to flip the switch. I'll accept that. But how do you know they flip a switch? Because, see, you can say it. You can say that's what I think happens, or that's what must happen. But they won't let you do that in court. I look at everything from the legal standpoint. And so there must be a switch that's flipped. So let's see it. Now, that was Emerald. That was Lindell TV. That was Patrick Byrne. Boom. Now we get here. On the right is Peter Ticken, who I know, who I have worked with. He is the President Trump's longtime friend. When President Trump was a young man in the academy, they went to the academy together. I know him well. Now, Peter was on Alex Jones. And on Alex Jones, here's another kind of news flash that came through. Breaking red flash. Peter Ticken plainly states without reservation that the difference between the 2020 election and the 2024 election was that computers operating in Serbia were not blocked in 2020, but were blocked in 2024, allowing an accurate count of the actual 2024. And by the way, this is kind of where the quote comes from, of the actual presidential votes. I have no issues with Alex or Peter. I've never been on Alex. Alex and I have been on one program together, but I've never been on Alex's program, and I do know Peter. Now, I have a question for you, and we're going to kind of go through it a little more. Remember what I've shown you so far. My philosophy is I'm indifferent to who's saying it. And you know my own personal policy. I do not watch anybody else's programs, even people I love, like Mel K. I love her. I adore her. She's one of the freaking best in the world, right? Or Cowboy Logic, salt of the freaking earth. The reason I don't watch other people's programs is because I'm kind of in a role with all of this evidence from Maricopa that eventually, as it comes to court or whatever, I've got to be able to say, I was not influenced by any outside influence. I don't watch General Flynn. I don't watch Patrick. I don't watch any of them. because I want to be able to honestly represent. I have not watched any other people's programs. I have not imbibed any other theories, and everything I speak is only, here's my personal opinion, here's my professional opinion, and here's what I found personally in the Arizona audit. I'm the only human in the world that is personally inspected 2 million general election ballots, 189 million ovals. I do that because I just want to stay pure, right? I may go to my grave, still do it, but that's it. And there's so much work on investigation. I just don't have time to watch other people's stuff. That's just it, right? When you send me a link and just say, you just send me a random link, I can't watch it. I don't even know what I'm watching. When you send me a random link and said, you should see this, and it's a program, I say, just give me the points and where can I find them in it, and I'll go to that. That's just it. That's it. And so when I give you my opinion, because that's all it is, I just want you to know it's my opinion. Somebody else didn't give me this opinion. Somebody didn't pay me to say this opinion. I wasn't influenced by another influencer or news or opinion. I'm just giving you the facts of how I look at it. Now, I know both of these fellows. I know what Alex has done, great warrior, and boy, he really got a lot of things right. And I know Peter, and I trust Peter. I'm going to show you one more, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Now we're going to go here. Now here's another breaking news. Breaking news, Dominion and China caught red-handed. Lindell TV, caught red-handed. Last week, Dar Leaf released evidence linking Dominion voting systems to employees in Serbia with Chinese nationals who worked, keywords, to alter U.S. election machine firmware. So you kind of know where we are, right? Now, let me ask you a question. I'm just trying to put all of this together, right? I'm just trying to put all of this together. Patrick has spent a tremendous amount of money making things happen to try to find out what happened in our elections. Patrick's his own man, and Patrick is one of the smartest thinkers I have personally met. Patrick is a really deep, logical, snap thinker, right? And so Patrick has credibility as that. He has credibility as CEO. Patrick is not a tech guy. He had an online company that he made well with, but Patrick's not a tech guy. Now, let me just ask you a few questions. I want you to be honest. Is that okay? Is Mike Lindell a tech guy or technically in depth and know how these things work? That's all I'm asking. Is Mike Lindell a tech guy, a coder, a tech CEO, or anything like that? Yes or no? Put it in chat. No, of course it's not. And Mike doesn't have the discipline. It's just true. It's not an insult. Discipline to even get to the facts of something, right? Because of his ADD. Now let's move to the next category. Is Emerald, his lead female host, is she a qualified tech person of any type? Just simple yes or no, no insulting. She's cute. Is Emerald a qualified tech person of any type? And if Emerald was to interview everybody that ever touched an election, does that make her an expert on elections? No, she would be an expert on repeating what other people said and remembering it, but she wouldn't be an expert on elections. Am I right? Okay. Is Alex Jones, super smart fellow, an expert on elections or how elections are run? Yes or no? Or even technology? He uses technology, might know technology. Does he code? Does he understand? But I'm just answering honestly. would Alex be an expert? And the answer is no. Peter Tickton, I know him, I love him, great guy. But is Peter Tickton an expert in any way in technology? No. Right? Is Sheriff Dar Leaf in any way an expert in technology? Now, I want you to think about these things. This is called reduce it to the ridiculous. Reduce it to the ridiculous. And I know some people hammer on Patrick to say that Warren Buffett's his mentor. We need to clear that up. Patrick knows Warren Buffett because Patrick's dad was one of Warren Buffett's key people, just so you understand what the real relationship is. Okay. I'd sit down and talk and get mentorship from Warren Buffett. There'd be a lot to learn, right? Does that mean you would be turned into a criminal or anything? No, not at all. Okay. So now I've given you names of people, and you've got a half a dozen names. Are any of them tech experts? And the answer is no. Now, what are their common denominators then? What are their common denominators? Well, with Mike Lindell and Emerald and Patrick, it's kind of easy. It's the machines. Patrick supplied the tech speak dolphins that came in for Tina Peters, who ended up being somebody protected by the FBI and couldn't whatever. They're kind of all over. The high profile people, but they're all kind of have these connective issues, most of them going back to Mike Lindell and or Patrick. That's kind of really all we have, right? That's kind of really all we have at any one time. So if you had to sum up Emerald, Patrick, Mike Lindell, Dar Leaf, not being the tech expert, Peter Tickton, not really being the tech experts, what are they really doing? Are they saying, this is what my personal investigation revealed? I've looked at it. I've looked at the code. I've looked at the results. I've seen them alter votes. I've seen them do this. I know the IPs in and out. I know who's controlling them. Is that what they're saying to you? No. And so what they're doing, right, is talking about something they've been told. Can we at least agree at the most simplest level? Talking and about something they have been told. For me, I'm a little bit different in that, like when I didn't understand what was corrupted on the drives in the Arizona audit and why we couldn't look at the JSON files, that's just a technical term. I went to the actual quote unquote creators of the JSON format and said, tell me, what am I looking here? What the hell's wrong? And they basically said, this has been manipulated, right? And they couldn't help me figure it out, but they could tell me it was manipulated. When I was looking at the paper for the election and seeing all these different papers in forensic technology, who was I working with? Well, the actual manufacturer of the said paper that the Arizona election officials swore they used. I'm going to repeat that. I didn't pick it out my hoo-hoo and say the paper was wrong. Forensic says, hey, this paper is wrong. There's all different types. Now it's backed by thousands of technical affidavits of, yeah, the paper was wrong. Ask all the people that dedicated their precious time to do the audit. But I was also working with the actual paper manufacturer who sent us the paper to look at, sent us the testing devices to use, had us match it in the system, right? and then told us Maricopa didn't buy this paper. We know they said it, and we know they said they used vote secure paper, and we know they spent a year promoting vote secure paper. But they actually didn't buy or deploy vote secure paper. It has a very specific definition. You'll be able to take a little device and confirm it, right? So I tend to go to the source to try to verify it when I have a question. I'm not just a repeater. So the question is, what do all these people have in common? Now I'm going to throw something that might help you. When I sit and see that, when I see all kinds of people that have influence talking about technology specifically, right? I first understand they're commenting. They're not reporting, they're commenting, and that's a difference. Okay, and you've got to understand the difference between somebody commenting and somebody reporting. Somebody who has dug and verified and is now reporting to you, or somebody who has taken a comment in their report and repeating those comments. When I see this many people on, and I've seen it in a lot of stuff, I decline these interviews. I don't do them. I just want to let you know that. I get hit a lot of times. This person can show how the votes were manipulated in Ohio, and they used this, and they did this, and they used this, and they did this. I look at who they're giving me, and I'm going, you want me to interview somebody who's been in DC and or media for decades? Why would I do that if we're talking technology? Then they go, well, here's the guy that did the research. I said, well, let me see the research. I never get it. Well, here's the guy and here's what he does. And I'm going, he's a financial broker. Just using a few examples so you understand where I come from. He's a financial broker. He's run the numbers and they don't look right. And I go, okay, but that doesn't make him an expert in this. I said, where's his information come from? He said, well, he got the public information and he pulled it down and he's run his numbers on it. For me, I can't do that. I won't do that to you, and I won't do it for myself, and I won't amplify that because I already know I'm dealing with an opinion from somebody who's giving their professional opinion from a totally disconnected industry, but using public data, not actual data. And so you see where my disconnect is, right? That's my disconnect. And so I refuse those interviews, right? If somebody's technical, I'll bring them on. If somebody's right in the thick of it, I'll bring them on. But I'm not here to amplify theories. Now, I just gave you a lot of names. Here's my problem that I have with that. Here's my problem. Right now, all across social media, you are being told the votes went to Serbia. White hats saved us. They stopped the votes from being changed. Okay? You're being told that. Now, I'm going to ask you a very hard question, but I want you to be honest. You're seeing it everywhere. That's why I'm doing this. How is that different than this?
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist
dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
Okay. I don't know if you hear a double speak right now, but again, once again, as I start covering it, tell me in comments you can hear me. All our systems go blank. So I'm going to try to recover systems. Hang on. I'm going to do my best to recover systems. So I've got here, hang on. I'm back in. Okay. Do you have good audio and video for me right now? Don't know if Rumble's come back up. But let me know in chat, okay? I don't know how much you lost, but isn't it weird how that happens? I'm going to replay that video for you. You ready? I'm just asking you, how is what I'm showing you different than this?
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
Okay. So now you kind of understand quite possibly just a little bit when I try to understand this. Are we not seeing the same thing? And this is and I'm being honest with you, this is my honest disconnect with this. Because I have a very simple question. And it goes back to, remember when Emerald on Lindell TV, who has now subsequently blocked me, she was complaining that none of the other big names or big people interviews her about election integrity and what went wrong. And I'm going, why would anybody interview you who were the interviewer that just happened to interview a lot of people? What can you actually add? And therefore, I'm seeing, wait a minute. Isn't that just a person repeating things that they know nothing about? Okay. So this is how I look at it. I remove myself. People get mad and say I'm not a team player. I'm the ultimate team player. You're just misguided to what team I play for. I play for all of the United States of America. I don't care if you're liberal or Republican or any of that. I just care about America. I don't care about politics. I hate politics. It's nasty. It's disgusting. It's the slimiest, creepiest, most unethical business in the world. I don't care about it. And it's not that I don't play well with others. That's something totally different. I'm just saying I really am agnostic. And I don't want to be promoted. And I'm not going to hold my tongue if somebody, and we're all supposed to be on the same America team, is doing bullshit. I'm just not. I'm not going to do it. And the reason is because I don't have to answer to a political party. I don't have to answer to teams. I just have to answer to God and my own ethics, moral, and conscience. That's it. That's all I have to answer on. And I do take that God thing so incredibly serious that it's over and above whether I just want to earn kudos with the system or I just want to get a speaking engagement so I can be at Turning Point. I just don't do that, right? I don't do that. Those things aren't important to me. I'm single-minded focus, make America great again, which I'd be doing anyway. And we got to fix this or we're not going to have a country. So I just want you to understand where I come from. And so when I step back and look at this, linearly and non-emotional, just non-emotional, I'm going, shit, I'm seeing talking points. I'm not seeing facts. I'm not seeing proof. I'm just seeing talking points. And I got to tell you, I'm tired of talking points. I want to eradicate the talking points. I want to eradicate the shift and move around. And I just want to get to fixing our elections. That's it. That's it. If I could have a total wish, right? Just to wave my wand wish was to fix our elections to the point that whatever they are, they are. There's no manipulation. Whatever they are, they are. And if it wasn't for that, right, I'd just be working on inventions and patented technology that will make life better and easier for everybody else. And I'd spend most of my time on top of the mountains, farming, right, ranching, and eating off the land. That's it, right? I do this because I feel I'm obligated to God and obligated to my country. That's it, right? I don't want to be on a speaking circuit. That's bullshit. I don't want to be in auditoriums pressing hands. That's bullshit. It's not what life really is. I just want to live life simply, authentically. Okay. With that said, I want to show you some more, and all you're doing, you're just helping me through this. This is my problem. Okay, this is my problem. Where's the beef? That's all I'm asking. Where is the beef? Because we're hearing all kinds of things. Here's another one. By the way, I have several images I'm going to show you. Then I'm going to show you a few videos. And then let's just dialogue about it. I saw this one. Ready? China provides the money to run the systems. They build the election machines, which are then sent to a warehouse in Taiwan, where they are repackaged, loaded with Smartmatic software. Also, China owns, through the digital communications technology company Huawei, massive servers in Serbia, which are used to store voting data and run the system. Okay, let me ask you a question. Those of you that are watching my program on a mobile, I want you to enter mobile. Those of you who are watching my program on a desktop, put desktop. Got it? Those of you that are watching on a mobile, put mobile. Those of you that are watching on a desktop, which will also can be your laptop, can be your tablet or whatever, right? Okay. You seeing them flash across my screen? Desktops, mobile, desktop, mobile, tablet, iPad, mobile, PC. Okay. Can I ask you an honest question? Is that okay? And will you answer me honestly? That's all I ask of you. Will you answer me honestly? Why are you giving your money to China? Just answer honestly. See, the answer is you're trapped. I know it. You should know it. You can't do anything electronically without being involved with China. Here's the truth. You have no fucking choice. You have no fucking choice. Because America gave away its manufacturing. So when I see statements like this, we're looking at propaganda. China provides the money to run the systems. They build the election machines. Everybody in their home probably has, on average, 20 to 60 individual devices that were fucking manufactured in China. Are you in on the collusion? Are you the one that rigged the election? Let me ask you a question. Did you win the election? Did China pay for your house? Are you subversive trying to kill America? Did it get shipped from Taiwan? But see, that's not how people read this. See, I read it as, so the fuck what? But when people do this kind of posting, I'm telling you, they're crapping in your cranium. Because see, you don't read that from a fucking point of facts. You read it from a point of propaganda. Of course, China owns Huawei. It's the only manufacturing technology company in the world that doesn't license my patents. Did you know that? Did you know that Huawei, which is the Chinese government controlled by the Chinese military, is the single only technology manufacturing company that does not license my patents? You know why? Because they just fucking steal it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And so they drop. Also, China owns Huawei communications technology. But they're saying China owns the massive servers in Serbia, which are used to store voting data and run the system. Let me ask you a question. How do you fucking know that Huawei owns the servers in Serbia? That's the question I ask. How do you know that Huawei owns the servers in Serbia? That's all I'm asking. Well, see, you don't. You actually don't. And so when I see these kinds of things, I have to ask, what's the intention? What's the intention? Do you follow what I'm saying? What is the intention? Well, in that statement, the intention is to lead you down a path that something nefarious has happened. Can we agree on that? The goal of that post is to specifically lead you down a path that something there is nefarious, when it actually proves nothing. Again, I only try to go from a standpoint of provable in court. That statement doesn't prove anything. Now, what does it? And I'll give you an example. Somebody, Steve Maude, says John Brenner is co-owner of the building in Serbia. Steve John, I'm going to send you a link. Hang on. Steve Maude 52. I'm going to send you a link. You gather your ownership documents. When you've got the ownership documents that show that Brennan co-owns the building, click that link. Make sure you turn on your camera and audio, and let's share that information with my audience. Okay? Steve Maude is the one who put it in Rumble. Steve Maude has 62 followers, started his account, Motorcycle Enthusiast, September 18th, 2020. Okay? Steve, here's what I'd like you to do, because that's an important statement. That's an important statement. I would like for you, I sent you the link. You can see it where I clicked your name. I'm going to click it again. I've given you a link. What I would like you to do is go wherever you got that, where you found that Brennan is the co-owner of the building in Serbia. Okay. You say you don't have it in front of you. Then come on and explain where you got it, because this is important to what I'm teaching. I teach. I want to understand where you came up with that. So you can click that link very politely. I just want to understand where you said he's the co-owner of the building in Serbia, because that's kind of where I'm headed. Let me show you a few things, folks. So here's what's going on. People have released the quote-unquote following information. All I'm asking you to do is to understand where the information come from, what the information is, and what should you make of the information. Now, this particular post says Dominion Voting Systems Company office building, address Rinkova 19, Beograd 11,000, Belgrade, Serbia. It's a photo of their office, their government official license document, which I obtained directly from the Serbian government. This is where they program the voting machines used, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Now I'm going to finish with the rest of it. So basically, I think Peter Berger or whatever shared this. And this is a post. It's going around online. It says, this is where they program the voting machines used in the USA. Programming is also done in their Toronto, Canadian office, and motherboard programming takes place in China. This is all completely illegal, violating federal FISMA. For one, it is also unlawful to have critical infrastructure run, controlled, and accessed by foreigners. And our U.S. congressmen and U.S. senators do nothing, even when it is now proven that 100% of the Dominion employees in Serbia and Canada are accessing our voting machines while the machines are sitting in election clerks' offices. Okay, let's just deal with this. Is that okay? Let's just deal with this. Is that okay? And I hope that, hang on. I hope that Steve, I hope you can find those documents of ownership. Please look for them. That'd be important. Okay. Now, let me ask you just a few questions. Okay. Number one, is it illegal for any company, Canadian or otherwise, to have ownership of buildings or have companies in other countries? Okay, just put it in chat. Okay, I just, first off, just put it in chat. Is it illegal for them to have offices in any foreign country? It's not. Okay, that's it. It is not. Now, I want to ask you a question. What is the incriminating evidence here? What is the incriminating evidence here? Just a question. Put it in chat. Is there any incriminating evidence in that particular part of the statement? Because it's implying, oh my God, you need to know that Dominion. And people are saying they can access our voting information. That's interesting. We're going to go through it. But if you'll stay on one thing at a time, I'm going to walk you through it. All I'm asking first off, is it a crime for a company or a voting company to have offices in other countries? Simple question. Is it? Well, the answer you need to understand is no. Now, here's what you have to look for. You got to dig. You got to try to find the facts. You got to try to find the source. And then once you have all the information, okay, once you have all the information, then and only then you make your judgment call. You do not make a judgment call otherwise. I got a question for you. Is access to a voting machine a crime? Is access to a voting machine a crime? Yes or no? Just a question. It's an honest question. I want an answer. Is access to a voting machine a crime? Well, Cisco says yes if you are not authorized. And you're incorrect. See, you said yes if they're not authorized. There is no law, no crimes, no enforcement, right? Even if it's not your machine. Just hang on. Let's don't go there yet. Okay. Oh, now we're getting to the point of it. Oh, good. I love you guys. And this is great. And you have to understand this. And remember, I got several videos to show you and I'm not done. Okay. Is it a crime to remotely access a voting machine? Yes or no? And the answer is no. You've been told they're not supposed to be connected to the internet. You have assumed that if they are, that is a crime. And that's just not truthful. Is it a crime to modify software during the election? Is it a crime to modify the software during an election? No. It is not a crime to modify the software during the election. Not at all. And in fact, it happens thousands of times, but it is not a crime. But see, you're asking the wrong questions. Steve Maud says, well, yes, well, that's what they got Tina Peters on. No, it's not. What they got Tina Peters on is she allowed people to copy the information. She, quote unquote, allowed people to use somebody else's IDs. She didn't allow people on the voting machines. Do you know why? I would like somebody to post up for me a link to a voting machine. Anybody. Show me a voting machine. I won't wait because you can't. Steve got it right. it's wrong to, see if now change. Well, it's a crime to change the outcome of the election. So let me ask you a question, Steve. We were talking about Tina Peters. Which votes did they change and how many were there? And Steve comes back. So tell me I'm wrong. Steve, I'll tell you to your face if you'll click the link and come on. Simple question. You said that John Brennan co-owns that building. We're going to get back to it. But now we're going to say, so tell me I'm wrong. Which, in Mesa County, Colorado, which votes did they change? What were they and what did they change them to? And by the way, try to stay and don't get offended. Try to stay, Steve, and don't get offended. I'm only pushing. You're actually helping everybody learn. This is not about you. I just used your points as a teaching mark. It's not about you. I don't know you. Just bear with me, okay? Which votes did they change? Who were the votes for? And what did they change it to? That is the legal question you have to get to, right? That is the legal question you have to get to. You will not find it in the Mesa County report. A monkey and a raccoon didn't evidence it. People who say they're for the cause of America didn't evidence it. What they told you is it looked like this, and then after the fact, it looked like this, and there are some files missing. Well, when you update any system, because that was a critical update, when you update any system, what happens? It adds and it subtracts. That is the definition of a critical update. But see, I asked you a question about the election. What votes were they? What did it change it to? Oh, and how did it do it? Do you understand what I'm saying? I understand completely what you're saying. Here's what you really are saying. Okay? Here's what you really are saying, Steve, Mod 52. Let me tell you what you're really saying. I was told that John Brennan co-owns that building in Serbia. I was told that Brennan is the evil one at the top of the chain. I was told that you can't access the machines from the internet. I was told that votes were changed in Mesa County, Colorado. You're right. You were told that. Now, the only thing I've ever asked you for in this is show me. That's all I'm talking about. That is all I'm talking about, because that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Tina is not in prison because she discovered they changed votes. That is not why she's in prison. That's not what happened. This is what I try to teach of how this really happens. And if you'll stay with me, you'll learn something. So we got to go on here, right? We got to go on here. And first off, the motherboard programming takes place in China. Okay. For those of you that have a desktop, and you answered me, you had a desktop, where does your motherboard programming occur? Can you answer it for me? And I hope you guys stay with me. I'm not trying to grill anybody. I'm trying to get you to the point we focus on what wins, not whatever. I'm just asking you a question. When you have a desktop, and you got a motherboard in it, same for your mobile phone, by the way, where is it programmed? Somebody said Dell. Where does Dell get their motherboard? Of course it's programmed in China. So let me ask you a question. That one statement, okay, it's programmed in China. Is that a crime? Because you're seeing here, this is completely illegal. Is that actually correct? That it's completely illegal? Look at this statement. It's also unlawful to have critical infrastructure run and controlled and accessed by foreigners. You're assuming they run and control it. You haven't shown any proof yet. Are you going to take down the United States military satellite, every satellite we own? Isn't that critical infrastructure? China 100% makes all of our transformers, all of our power grid. Is our power grid critical infrastructure? Is it against the law for that to happen? When you now register to fly a drone and you get a license and it goes to the video server where you're video serving, it goes to Beijing, China. And they survey our power grids with it. And that's critical infrastructure. Is that against the law? Right now, the sad part of our critical infrastructure in the United States of America, and I'm just going to tell you how bad it is. You could take two drones. You could take a tow chain, like you tow a car, say a 20-foot chain, and you could drop it at a certain place on our power grid, and you would blow the key transformers. You could blow the key transformers. Now, let's say those key transformers are at the right place that they control Los Angeles, and this is true. And that big transformer went down. To replace it, how long would it take? 3 years. Because why? Because 100% of it is made in China. We gave up our manufacturing sovereignty to China and all the rare earth minerals to China. It's already done. And the government knows this. Don't want to change the subject to other things. We're talking elections. I just want you to understand this. So when you look at this statement by somebody, this is not a correct statement. I'm going to show you more, and I'll give you an example. You can go to almost every transit rail hookup or shipping hookup in the United States of America, and I can show you this. This was the book I was trying to finish 5 years ago before I got involved in this election stuff. Still haven't finished it. And I can take you into a control room on a train line, let's say, where there's only 2 people that are supposed to be on the server. 2. Force them to open up the servers and say, how many people are on the system? And you'll find 100 people on the system monitoring it. Say, okay, force reset, kick out every password, issue a new password to your people. Boom. And only the 2 will come back in. And then all of those 98 that were there illegally have to keep working at it until they find a way back in. That's every single transportation grid of every kind, rail, train, bus, you name it, in the United States of America right now. Here's my only point. You're getting told these are crimes. You're getting told to look here. All I'm doing is pulling this back. Let me give you an example. You said it's a crime. Critical infrastructure, it's a crime. Well, why do we have the actual disclosures in the actual documents of where all this happens? And it includes Serbia. You can see it in the documents yourself. Nothing's hidden. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is hidden. It's not a crime. It's not a crime. I want to repeat that for you. It's not a crime. See, I think the system makes you focus on things that are non-enforceable, and they get you to repeat them. By God, we just heard a guy say, did you know that Steve Brennan co-owns that building in Serbia? Well, let's look at that. This comes from a book published in 2000. And by the way, that's the republish. First time it was published was like late 90s. Okay? I'm going to read you a few excerpts from this book, which is called Black Box Voting. Now, just listen, I've covered this before, but just pay attention. ES&S was founded in the 1970s by two brothers, Bob and Todd Urosevich from Omaha, Nebraska. In July 2000, Bob Urosevich was named president of another vendor, Global Election Systems. Its largest shareholder and senior vice president as of September 2000 was a convicted embezzler named Jeffrey Deem, whose crimes involved computer tampering. In 2002, ATM manufacturer Diebold acquired Global and changed its names to Diebold Election Systems. Remember, I did a whole program on this. I'm just giving you this again because I want you to pay attention to something. Diebold told the Associated Press that Dean had left the company, but internal Diebold memos showed that he remained as a consultant. Dean's involvement with Global Diebold was unearthed by Bev Harris, author of Black Box Voting, Ballot Tampering in the 21st Century. That's 2004. Pay attention to the dates. 21 years ago. His whereabouts today are unknown. Next part. Keep on reading. Diebold sold its election subsidiary to ES&S. Remember, I'm giving you to ES&S in 2009. But in 2010, the Department of Justice's Antitrust Division forced ES&S to sell some of Diebold's assets because the combined company accounted for more than 70% of the U.S. election equipment. Dominion Voting, a Canadian company that outsources some of its programming to Serbia, bought those assets that same year, 2009, as well as a smaller voter named Sequoia Voting. In recent years, ENS has made a series of misleading statements about remote access to some of its election systems and internet connectivity. For the most part, Dominion won't say if it's installed remote access in the software systems, blah, 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 blah. Now, what you should operationally understand is why in 2025 is this shit being recirculated. I'm going to tell you why in 2025 this shit is being recirculated. By the way, I'm going to let you see the whistleblowers. I hope you stay with me. Right? You can't just abbreviate this stuff. So when you talk about Serbian and programming, you're talking about a 21-year-old issue, a known issue that's not against the law, that is not a crime, that is fully disclosed in the contracts. Now, why Serbia? Serbia has one of the most technically literate populations technology-wise for programming, because that's what they focus their children to do, because that's the modern world. Serbian programmers are the bomb. They're some of the best in the world, the fastest, the most competent. Is it against the law to have the programming done there? It is not. In fact, almost every major tech organization you deal with, in almost all of your social media and all of your computing, has an element that is being programmed out of Serbia because they're great. They got equal programming out of Russia, but that's forbidden against the law. So a lot of those skill sets got moved to Serbia a long time ago. Nothing nefarious about it. They're just a brilliant population that focus their children not on DEI, not on becoming trans, not on Antifa, not on protesting like the con they do here. They give their kids true skills. It's very cost efficient to do. Their population is one of the most literate in the world, code-wise, for technology programming. That's a known fact. You can ask anybody in programming. They don't allow their children to engage in the bullshit that America pushes to our kids. Well, see, we can't find this anymore in America. You should start to notice a trend. I just told you about our servers for our electrical grid and our components being sent to China. I just told you about all of the server hardware, boards or whatever being sent to China and how we're vulnerable. Well, you know what? They sent all our coding and technology to China while our kids want to be sports figures, influencer, or trans. Do you understand the fucking war? Yet? Let's keep on going. Somebody said I wasn't allowed to post these documents about the voting machines used in 2020. Well, here it is. It's been out there forever if you know where to look. The software for Dominion voting systems was made in Serbia by Serbian IT engineers. The voting machines were connected to the IP address in Belgrade. So let me tell you a few things. Number one, what voting machine? Show me a voting machine, one single voting machine of any kind that was connected to an IP address in Belgrade. The problem is these statements are made, but there is no direct evidence that's ever presented. That's the problem I have. But now you're seeing things come up 5 years later. Oh, I wasn't able to release it then, but I can now. Why weren't you able to release it then? It's public. Just a question. Why weren't you able to release it then? Now, this singular statement, I wasn't allowed to post these documents about voting machines used in 2020. There's three things wrong with this. One, the headline's misleading bullshit. Who disallowed it? Number two, we don't have voting machines, and Dominion does not make voting machines. It's all third-party public-private hardware partnerships. So that right there totally discredits all of this statement. Every bit of it. Even on this Serbian stuff, right? Oh, here you go. And this one's, again, it's taken on life of its own. It's being revetted up. Here you go. Serbians working for Dominion voting systems. At least they got that right. Programming voting machines. They got that wrong because we don't have voting machines in the USA. And Sheriff Leaf caught them trying. Now, pay attention to the words. Sheriff Leaf, Dar Leaf, caught them trying to change votes before 2020 election was certified in Michigan. Show me, because that's a fucking smoking gun. Keywords. Dar Leaf, the sheriff, he personally caught them. He has enforcement. He personally caught them trying to change votes before the 2020 election. Dar Leaf never talked about elections before 2020. Dar Leaf didn't start using that angle until he started running for office. But here's my question. This is an absolute statement. Dar Leaf, Sheriff Leaf, caught them trying to change votes before 2020 election was certified in Michigan. That's a sheriff. He has automatic authority. In fact, only the sheriff can override everything else. You understand that, right? The sheriff can seize machines. The sheriff can do it. So I got a question for you. In Michigan, if in fact Sheriff Dar Leaf caught them trying to change votes, that means you see a vote, you saw them change it, you wouldn't let them do it, you stopped them. Where is that? Can anybody tell me where that is? Can anybody tell me how a sheriff knew what to look for? Can anybody tell me why they weren't immediately arrested when in fact the actual sheriff discovered it? Who is the one that has the authority to lock them up? Why didn't you arrest them? He doesn't even need approval to arrest him. You understand that? If Dar Leaf, as the sheriff, physically caught somebody changing the vote in Michigan, and he has all the power, by the way, I've told you this, where's the arrest? It's just a very simple question. Who did you arrest? See, who do you arrest leads to, well, how did you discover it? How do you discover it? Says, okay, what was the vote and how did they change it? Which basically explains the methodology. And then it says, okay, show me the proof of how you caught the vote here. They changed it. Do you understand? Now, why would a sheriff and people promote that statement? You're told right here, here it is. And sheriff discovered it. Well, why don't you go to the next logical question? Why didn't you fucking arrest them? Why don't you go to the next logical question? Show me. Are you starting to begin to see my problem with this? Let's look at this. Here's CanCon. Wait until you find out Serbians are coding our voting systems. Canadians own said voting system, and they have foreign nationals working as lead technicians at individual jurisdictions for the election company. Let's analyze this from a crime standpoint. Number one, is it a crime to have Serbians write any code that are used in our elections? It's not a crime. There are no standards or laws or requirements of where the code's written. There isn't. So let's set that aside. Canadians own the said voting system. You're right. Canadians own the said voting system. Is that a crime or against the law? No. And they have foreign nationals working as lead technicians at individual jurisdictions for an election company. I showed you in fucking Georgia, they had Ethiopians and people from Latin America. Is that a crime? Just a question. Is that a crime? Somebody by default working for Dominion, right? Working for Dominion literally is, in fact, a foreign national. Can we agree? Can we agree on that? But is that a crime? See, the answer is none of this is a crime. Nothing happens unless we get a crime. So I have to ask, why does the sheriff keep on doing? Look what I found, look what I found, look what I found, look at me, look what I found, look what I found, what I've done. It's the machines, look what I found. Look at... Well, he's running for election. You want to know another coinkydink? Of course, Dominion is in Toronto. Where is, now get ready for this, because you might connect some dots really super fucking fast. Things will really meld for you like fast. Where is Dominion's United States office? Well, it is 1201 8th Street, Suite 210, Denver, Colorado. Who went to jail over all this stuff? Tina Peters. Where was she in Colorado? Colorado. Who said, I heard Antifa and it was Dominion and they're going to hack the machines? Where'd that come out of? Colorado. Where did the system find somebody to, I just want to test my theory. It's on a 6-degree polynomial and I just want to do this and turn it over. Well, that's when Dr. Frank went to Colorado. Do you find that a coincidence? Just a question. Do you find that a random coincidence that the hotbed of the claims which were disproven in court, I infiltrated a call and yada, 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 and that the prosecution of a county recorder come out of fucking Colorado? I'm just asking. I don't see that as a coincidence. How is that just a random coincidence in the universe? I say to you, it's planned. And it just so happens Colorado is the hotbed for the color revolution. Hey, by the way, let's look at Mike Lindell's team. Cause of America. Where are all the people from that headed up? Oh, that's right. Colorado. What are the odds of that? What are the odds in Mike Lindell's team when he has the whole fucking wide world, motherfucking world of the world of all the information in every fucking county, 3,000 fucking counties, we got it all, you're going to see it. But do they go to Georgia? No. Do they go to Pennsylvania? No. Do they go to Wisconsin, the swing states? No. Did they go to Arizona? No. Did they go to any of the swing states? No. But where did they focus on? How interesting. Colorado. And it's where the Antifa call came out of. It's where they got access to the machines. What Michigan? Wasn't any of those states. It's where Bowtie showed up. It's where the tech guys that looked at everything are. It's where the guys that went into the system are. It's where they sent everybody are. And it just happens to be also the headquarters in the United States for this company. What are the odds? Just tell me. I have a problem with it. What are the odds? What am I seeing? That out of any and every fucking place there could be, that you could really go in and look for stuff, but where they went into is Colorado. They convince you, just like we had people here saying, well, they changed the votes. They didn't show a single vote changed. Not a one. Not a one. The epicenter of everything you've been told, it was the machines, infiltrated an Antifa call. Mike Lindell chooses as his right-hand man to launch his television network and software, the very guy that says, I infiltrated Antifa in Colorado. Lindell Media Company, when it was set up, is set up as a public company in Colorado. What the fuck am I missing? What are the odds of that? What are the odds to test the 6-degree polynomial, because I'm a smart guy and you're not. I just need a place that has no problems. This is all on the record. I just have the no problems. I want to go find a place where they don't have any problems at all. And they convince a person that says, I have no problems. They convince her, yes, you do. You just don't know it. And we're smarter than you. And they break every fucking law that she went to jail for, but they did it. It's all Colorado. How the fuck does that happen? How the fuck does that happen? I'm sorry. How the fuck does that happen? What are the odds? If you were out and the election was fucking rigged, you said by the machines, but you just didn't go to the swing states to show it? But everything comes down to Colorado. And they made millions. They got rewarded with public companies. They come out of nowhere, people you never heard of. They're speaking all over the place. They get sent to 745 speaking engagements. That's one person, all 50 states. How does that happen? Just a question. And all of them told you there's proof, but never showed you any proof. But somebody went to jail for it. These are the questions I have. Okay, here's another Lindell TV. Dominion and China caught red-handed. What the fuck did they catch? They said right here, systems in Serbia with Chinese nationals who work to alter U.S. election firmware. Okay, just show it to me. How about this one? A 2016 fucking article. Vendor uses developers in Serbia. This is almost 10 years ago now. This is almost 10 years ago now. And somehow this is breaking news right now. Don't you understand? The Antifa call infiltrated, failed, ran its course of time. What was the new one put up? Well, I got the PCAPs. It got fucked up. And when it got to court and had to admit we never had them. This is a regeneration. CanCon writes, Dominion voting has a ton of, now get this, Serbian sounding names on the emails. Let me replay this for you. I'm breaking a story for you. I went back to the archives of 2000 and found out they program in Serbia, have a Serbian office. It's totally legal. And they send email to these Serbian people. But here in 2025, I'm breaking it. Oh my God, it's a story. And I have the emails to prove it. What are you actually proving? How is that a fucking story? Let me get this straight. You are such a crack fucking intelligent reporter that you're breaking a story that was known in 1998 and in 2000 and in 2004 and in 2009 and in all the records and every fucking contract and in emails. But I break in the story and they have Serbian sounding names. How about this one? And here it is. Whistleblower from Department of Justice, FBI and DEA and Homeland Security confirms, right? Biden visited Serbia in May of 2009 to personally recruit computer hackers to control the future Dominion software in the U.S. elections. Now, let me ask you a question. And this is a Joe Biden question. Joe Biden is going to go to Serbia. And I'm going to show you videos, so don't run. Joe Biden is going to go to Serbia to personally recruit, while he's in office as a vice president, he's going to personally recruit hackers from Dominion to steal an election. Joe Biden might go there. He'd be more inclined to suck off a tech guy than he would be to recruit a fucking hacker. Come on. Come on. To further conceal its manipulation of U.S. elections, Dominion moved its research and development servers, which store swing state voters' information, to Belgrade in Serbia. October 23rd, 2024. So now it's saying there's physical servers in Serbia that only store the swing states. Now get ready for this. And they may and Venezuelan keyword, Chinese keyword, Serbian software engineers maintain system administration data over swing state elections. How do you know somebody has administrative control? Well, if you can find out if they have administrative control, then what do you have? Logs, names, dates, servers. Where's that shit? Somebody put, search says, Stork and Page, FBI photographed in London. Okay. Weren't those the two FBI people fucking each other who both were married? And maybe they went to London to fuck, and you have a photograph of it. Look, there's a photograph of them in London. All I'm asking is, what does that prove? Here's what I'm asking. Okay, there's a whistleblower that says this. Show me. Don't tell me, show me. Dominionizing, here's another one. Here it is. Dominionizing the overthrow of the United States government. Now get ready for this one. Dominion shifting 2 to 3% of the Trump votes to Biden on Conspiracy Day, November 3rd, 2020. And when they got caught, they called it a glitch. Michigan Darleaf. Show me a switch of the vote. Now, the only thing I ask in all of this, I hear the words. I hear everybody saying it. But when I just see people in positions of influence with reach saying something, it only makes me think of this.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Phoenix says, why would they go to London to fuck privately? Isn't it obvious? They both work for the FBI. They both were married. They both live in the same city, and they're trying to get away, be unseen. That's just kind of a thing. I don't think they go to the, outside the Beltway to the Motel 8. They're lovers. There's a plausible reason why they would be there. But here's a question. Even if you had a photo of them in London, humping, just tell me what it proves. I just want to know. Just tell me what it proves. That's it. See, we make all of these leaps and things, and I'm telling you, we leap on shit like that, and we don't recognize the coincidences.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
Now, all I've shown you in these things, and now I'm going to show you the videos. All I've shown you in these things, we keep on hearing this Dominion change votes, is Serbia. We hear this new story, which keeps everybody focused on the machines. That's what I'm trying to show here. It keeps everybody focused on the machines. And when the bad guys protest, they protest, don't you clean that voter roll. Don't you stop mail-in ballots. Everything's designed to make people look at machines where there's no enforcement, that you can never find anything. There are no rules. There are no enforcement activity within the Election Assistant Commission rules and guidelines. There are no enforcement activities within HAVA, the Help American Vote Act. So now, why are we being told it's the machines again? I'm going to tell you why you're being told, because you know the truth. I showed you the truth on the paper. I showed you how it was done. I showed you, in fact, it was done. I give you all the pieces, players, and everything, and they can't afford to, that. So they keep on regurgitating stories. And I'm just telling you, I have no evidence. Nobody has any evidence that's presented. That's my question. Where's the evidence? Just show me the evidence. Show me the burger. Show me the burger. Phoenix says, well, they were photographed in London. Why wouldn't they go to a random U.S. city if the sex was secondary, primary business? Let me tell you what. If Stork and whatever her name were in on it and you arrest them tomorrow, what changes? I'll wait for your answer. Peter Stork or whoever they were and fucking his FBI agent. Oh, you caught them. They did it. They did it in London. Now tell me what changes. Tell me what changes. Tell me what it fixed. Tell me how we don't run into this, the midterm, Lisa Page. Tell me how we don't run into this same shit in the midterms because they arrested Page and Stork. Tell me. Put your case up. Tell me what it changes. Tell me if they arrest Hillary Clinton, how does it change what's going to happen in the midterms? Tell me. Just tell me how it's going to move the needle and change it. They will always give you, it was a Euro spook meeting. Okay, I'll do this. I'll buy into it. Ready? I'll buy into it. Here we go. Ready? Senatorius. Sounds officially familiar to Socrates. The other day, remember we had Socrates? Well, now we don't have Socrates. We are blessed not with Socrates today. We are blessed with Senatorius. Senatorius. Okay, the photo was Strzok and Page in Euro Spooks meeting. I'm going to give you a link to my show. You see it. And what I would like you to do is come on and take us through how you verified it was a European spooks meeting. I'll wait. I'm going to continue to do my show. I just want you to join me because I don't have that information. And if you actually have the information, an FBI agent was there at a spooks meeting in Europe. I just want you to share it with me. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. You know all the whistleblowers that keep on coming out? I'm going to show you the whistleblower case. And I think I have it right, but I don't think it matters if it runs out of sequence. Let's listen to a Serbian whistleblower. Ready?
Glasova softveri su programirani da koriste decimale prilikom brojanja glasova, kao I da omoguće pristup, upravljanje I manipulaciju ovih podataka na daljinu. Od 2005. Dominion ima predstavništvo u Beogradu i deo je sprovođenja globalističke agende. Kakav su softver napisali ti pomenuti stručnjaci iz Dominiona, Beogradske kancelarije, najbolje pokazuje greška otkrivena u okrugu Antrim u severnom Michiganu. To je jedan okrug koji je tradicionalno republikanski. U prethodna 34 izbora, na 32 izbora pobedili su republikanci. 2016. Trump je tamo pobedio i imao je 62% glasova. Na ovim izborima kao pobednik je izašao Biden, a onda je prvom kontrolom otkrivena softverska greška kojom je 6000 glasova sa Trumpa preblačeno Bidenu. I posle ispravke pobednik je bio Trump. Oprema Dominion Voting System se inače koristi u 69 od 83 okruga u Michiganu i da nije u pitanju nikakva greška, pokazuje i podatak da su mašine u drugom okrugu federalne države, znači Michigan okrugu Wayne, konektovale na internet u periodu brojanja glasova, znači 3. novembra u 23 časa na IP adresu iz Srbije, gde se ponovo vršila manipulacija i gde su hiljade glasova prebačeni sa Trumpa na Bidena. Primjer Michigana znači pokazuje vam da je softver i algoritam softvera u startu bio podešen tako da se odbija da se u odnosu na broj Trumpovih glasova dodaju glasovi Bidenu. Tako se dolazi do ozbiljnih nelogičnosti. Gde god je republikanci i Trump su jači, imaju više glasova, tu je bolji rezultat Bidena. Što je potpuno nemoguće. Znači, na svaka 3 glasa za Trumpa dodaje se 1 glas Bidenu. Znači, tako je softver bio podešen. Znači, u startu je uneto dosta grešaka i malvera, a kasnije se dodatno manipulisano pristupom preko interneta sa IP adrese u Beogradu.
Okay. I'm going to show you the other piece of it. And then we're going to do a little detectiving.
Podatak da su mašine u drugom okrugu federalne države, znači Michigan okrugu Wayne, konektovale na internet u periodu brojanja glasova, znači 3. novembra u 23 časa na IP adresu iz Srbije, gde se ponovo vršila manipulacija i gde su hiljade glasova prebačeni sa Trumpa na Bidena. Primjer Michigana znači pokazuje vam da je softver i algoritam softvera u startu bio podešen tako da se odbija da se u odnosu na broj Trumpovih glasova dodaju glasovi Bidenu. Tako se dolazi do ozbiljnih nelogičnosti. Gde god je republikanci i Trump su jači, imaju više glasova, tu je bolji rezultat Bidena. Što je potpuno nemoguće. Znači, na svaka 3 glasa za Trumpa dodaje se 1 glas Bidenu. Znači, tako je softver bio podešen. Znači, u startu je uneto dosta grešaka i malvera, a kasnije se dodatno manipulisano pristupom preko interneta sa IP adrese u Beogradu. Ta, znači, eksterna mreža Dominiona je konfigurisana na srpskoj IP adresi na mrežu SBB-a. Znači, ta IP adresa, znači, koja je izlazna za Ameriku, ulazna za Dominion, jeste upravo u Beogradu na adresi Bulevar Zorana Đinđića 8A. Tu se nalazi više firmi, znači nalazi se Opportunity banka, EUNET, Provider, ali i sedište za korporativne klijente SBB-a. Lider, inače, u sektoru kablovskih i internet usluga u Srbiji. Također se tu nalazi još neke kompanije iz okvira United grupe kao što su Sport klub ili televizija Nova S. SBB je u vlasništvu američkog fonda KKR, znači oni imaju upravljački udeo i suvlasnički i na čelu KKR-a se nalazi general David Petraeus, bivši šef CIA i čovjek Georgea Sorosa. Petraeus počinje da radi za Sorosa još od 2000. godine, kada je bio stacioniran u okviru snaga IFOR u Bosni. Bio je direktor Sorosove organizacije Move On, negde 2004. godine, a na čelu CIA se nalazi od 2008. do 2010. godine u vreme predsjedničkog mandata Baracka Obame.
Okay, pop quiz.
I don't give a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore. I don't give a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore, a fuck anymore.
Okay. What did you notice about the video? Put it in chat. I only got 2 more. You'll get through this if you want to learn. If you don't want to learn, you're already off. We're being told that Biden went to Serbia and personally handpicked the hackers. Thank you, Lee, for reposting the stream. I wish more people would repost the stream. It's the only way people get the truth. But let me ask you a question. Put in chat what you noticed about that video. Now, number one, it looks like it's coming out of Europe. Rhodes, you're right, because it has all of the European outlets on the wall. So plausibly, thank you. Dan, thank you for doing it. I wish more people reboosted the stream so people see this. That's what it takes. So plausibly in this person, it looks like it's Serbia. But let me ask you a question. Just a serious question. It's just a question. Don't shoot the messenger. I've always told you when somebody wears their cross on the outside of their button shirt, is that for them or is that for you? Is that for them or is that for you? Well, it's for you. So try to convince you they are what they are. See, the first thing I see in this video is this person's trying too damn hard to convince us he's from Serbia.
Glasova softveri su programirani da koriste
Different Serbian markers can you pick up in this video?
Glasova softveri su programirani da koriste decimale prilikom brojanja glasova, kao I da omoguće pristup, upravljanje I manipulaciju ovih podataka na daljinu.
Kind of interesting, isn't it? Well, other than the fact that he's speaking Serbian. So we have a video, plausibly by the electrical outlets, right? That it's European. Okay, we got it. We can't see any really definable background of where he's sitting. But he's hammering us incredibly hard. I'm Serbian, I'm Serbian, I'm Serbian. Tell me what else you notice about him.
Glasova softveri su programirani da koriste decimale prilikom brojanja glasova, kao I da omoguće pristup, upravljanje I manipulaciju ovih podataka na daljinu. Od 2005. Dominion ima predstavništvo u Beogradu I deo je sprovođenja globalističke agende. Kakav su softver napisali ti pomenuti stručnjaci?
It's not AI. It's not AI. What else do you notice about him? I just want to see if you pick it up. I do. I just want to see if you pick it up. The way he's sitting. He has his butt plug still in. I caught that too, Cisco. You're very observant. What else? You're right, KJ. He's reading. Watch his pupils.
Glasova softveri su programirani da koriste decimale prilikom brojanja glasova, kao I da omoguće pristup, upravljanje I manipulaciju ovih podataka na daljinu.
This
Od
fellow
2005. Dominion ima predstavništvo u Beogradu I deo je sprovođenja globalističke agende.
reading a
Kakav
script.
su softver napisali ti pomenuti stručnjaci iz Dominiona, Beogradske kancelarije najbolje pokazuje greška otkrivena u okrugu Antrim u severnom Michiganu. To je jedan okrug koji je tradicionalno republikan.
Now, what you should notice, he's a whistleblower supposed to be telling you his story. Why is a whistleblower reading a script? Why is a whistleblower reading a script but also acknowledging somebody off camera? I'm just trying to figure it out. You tell me.
Glasova softveri su programirani da koriste decimale prilikom brojanja glasova, kao I da omoguće pristup, upravljanje I manipulaciju ovih podataka na daljinu. Od 2005. Dominion ima predstavništvo u Beogradu I deo je sprovođenja globalističke agende.
Here's my only problem with this supposed whistleblower thing. It hits every fucking hot button that was sold to us, both through the I infiltrated an Antifa call, both that was fed to us through the PCAP's cyber symposium lie, and now it's the Serbian twist. But he actually included all of that. He included post things, pre things, talking about 2020 election, but new things that have come up in the talking point. This is an amalgam of talking points. And he's reading it. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. I don't care who he is. I'm only pointing out what I see. And I see somebody's reading a script. If you know your shit, you know your shit, you know your shit. Now we're going to look at some court testimony back in the Kerry Lake days. Let's watch this.
Would be Gwinnett, if I'm remembering correctly. There were several states involved.
And which time period are you referring to?
This was 2020.
Before or after the election?
During the election.
This is Clay Pariah, am I saying it right? And he's testifying. And he's testifying things changed during the election. We're going to watch his testimony. Clay's probably the only person that has any real expertise in any of this. Military guy. Common denominator. Got captured early on by the Lindell crowd won't dialogue. Has the same Jovan's off limits. Don't know why. But this is his testimony. Again, let's go into this. Okay?
Would be Gwinnett, if I'm remembering correctly. There were several states involved.
And which time period are you referring to?
This was 2020.
Before or after the election?
During the election.
In your examination of any of these Dominion systems, have you seen any indication of non-election personnel remotely accessing a Dominion system?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I too have reviewed a series of emails produced by Dominion in which they're discussing remoting into Gwinnett County, Georgia.
You also mentioned Dominion remotely connecting to election systems, but you don't have any evidence that occurred in Georgia, correct?
There was one county. I've seen a lot of Dominion emails. I've had to translate Dominion emails from.
Okay. Ben Cotton was the other one testifying, and Clay. It's the court proceedings. And they're asked a question, have you seen direct remote access into the systems? Have you seen direct remote access into the systems? I want you to write that down. If you're willing to engage in this, write that down and play like you're sitting in the witness box. The question is, have you seen or discovered remote access into the actual systems? That is the question. I'm going to play this back. Just listen.
Would be Gwinnett, if I'm remembering correctly. There were several states involved.
And which time period are you referring to?
This was 2020.
Before or after the election?
During the election.
In your examination of any of these Dominion systems, have you seen any indication of non-election personnel remotely accessing a Dominion system?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I too have reviewed a series of emails produced by Dominion in which they're discussing remoting into Gwinnett County, Georgia.
You also mentioned Dominion remotely connecting to election systems, but you don't have any evidence that occurred in Georgia, correct?
There was one county. I've seen a lot of Dominion emails.
Okay, I want to point something out. There were 30,000 anonymous incursions into the servers in Maricopa, which we never got a hold of, the routers or the Splunk logs. Ben Cotton was involved and knows this. We never got them. There was a sham investigation of them. They said they didn't, by an outside sources. Military guy came in, said, well, there were never any, which is just crap. Now, I want to ask you a question. Did they testify that they witnessed remote incursions into the election? Yes or no? They're in the witness box. They're in the witness box. The question is, have you witnessed this? I just want to ask you a question. Did they give proof of witnessing this occur? People ask why we lose. No, they read some emails. You understand in a court of law that's hearsay. So I just have a question. Why would any attorney put a witness on the witness stand and that's their answer, knowing it's not enforceable? Now, to you think they're exposing it. You actually think they're exposing it. But that's not what happens here. You have a question, but the answer is, I read it in some emails. Just keep watching. Listen to the words.
Would be Gwinnett, if I'm remembering correctly. There were several states involved.
And which time period are you referring to?
This was 2020.
Before or after the election?
During the election.
In your examination of any of these Dominion systems, have you seen any indication of non-election personnel remotely accessing a Dominion system?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I, too, have reviewed a series of emails produced by Dominion in which they're discussing remoting into Gwinnett County, Georgia.
You also mentioned Dominion remotely connecting to election systems, but you don't have any evidence that occurred in Georgia, correct?
There was one county. I've seen a lot of Dominion emails. I've had to translate Dominion emails from Serbian to English to verify the technical questions I was being asked about them, to verify that it was translated properly. So
it's your testimony that there is evidence of Dominion remotely accessing Georgia election equipment?
yes, on the one county. It was included with stuff that I was researching and reading through, considering Colorado. Michigan was also involved, and there were other ones.
To your understanding, is Dominion able to remotely connect to these election systems?
Yes.
Are they able to do that without detection?
Yes.
And are you aware of any instances in which that has occurred?
Yes.
Can you identify those instances?
One would be the Denver, Colorado server was granted, or requested to grant Belgrade, only Belgrade. I did search. There is a Belgrade, Montana. Again, why would Montana need to connect into a Colorado file transfer server as part of the election system? And there are other components and things that were done in the background concerning the database and the configure of the database server that still do not have an engineering change order. Because if somebody works in an operational environments for a lot of different things, what I will tell you is sometimes things break or you have a problem and you have to fix it. And you submit a change request, or in this case, an engineering change order that is retroactive, right? You want to go back and make sure that you record the process so that you have change management and integrity of the system. If you do not record changes, you lead yourself down a very bad road.
Okay, so here's the question I ask you. Here's the question I ask you. If Dominion has access to any of the systems because they are the provider, is that a crime? Yes or no? If Dominion has access in the system anyway, is that a crime? Okay, now you said, and Pat said this, without detection was the question. So let me answer your question. Let me do this. In Maricopa County, Arizona, during the full forensic audit, we discovered 30,000 anonymous incursions into the election, which means they were detected. What did they lead to? Nothing. Do you know why they didn't lead to nothing? Why they actually led to nothing is because for some reason the servers were housed with the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department said, well, you'll see secret data on investigations we got, so we don't have to turn them over. They weren't forced by law. So we have no information. So what was proven by 30,000 anonymous incursions into the system? Nothing, because we weren't allowed to see it. Now, did they not allowing us to see it, was that illegal? No. Why was it not illegal? Because for that election, under the guise of protecting elections, they co-housed it on the sheriff's department, which means it's the sheriff's department responsibility, which basically the sheriff can say, well, it's all in the same server and you'll see all our other investigations. We don't have to give it over. You don't forget, we told you about how this was done, whatever. And so you can't get the information. Now, let me ask you a question. Where does the source of their information come from? You have two experts, granted, top experts, Ben Cotton Cipher, who's a government contractor, CIA, in other words, and otherwise, and Clay, military personnel, government access. Where did they get their information? Where do they get their factual evidence? Emails they read, which we've seen as a theme and all, but look at the emails, but look at the emails, but look at the emails. But here's the bottom line. You can't use those in court. Somebody's saying, well, I don't know if a foreign actor can legally access a federal election system. It happens every day. Because, see, foreign workers in elections are not outlawed. You know what else is not outlawed? Not a fucking thing. Here's the rules for the election systems. Ready? They're called the VVSG. That's the rules. They're voluntary. Well, I didn't know you couldn't have foreign election workers. Well, why didn't you know that? Well, I get to choose whoever I want because the rules are voluntary. Well, I didn't know I couldn't look at the information on our things, even though it's disclosed in our manuals, even though we tell the county if they want to see it remotely, just get a piece of software that does it. It's in our fucking books, but it's voluntary. You're being told and fed nonstop. And you just make excuses over and over. But if it's an investigation, but if it's this, but if it's this, but if it's this, but if it's this, but if fat girls could fly, but if horses could fly. But what about this? Would you love me if I was this big? Would you love me if I was this big? Would you love me if I had no arms? Would you love me if I... It's a fucking SNL skit. Read it for yourself. Look it up for yourself. Voluntary voting systems guidelines. And you want convictions. Tell me how you get that. If you walk into an establishment with a gun pointed at them and steal the money, it is voluntary. Just make sure you follow the guidelines. Help, 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 I've been robbed. Go to the robber. We're going to arrest you. What? I didn't know it was a crime. Well, they don't like it. Well, it's voluntary if I do it. So I decided I guess I could. This is why the system forces you to the machines. Let's keep on going. We know they swapped votes. We know it. We have proof. How?
So here's another instance of drastic vote swings earlier on election night.
Okay, so let's take a look between 9:11 p.m. and 9:32 p.m. on CNN. Joe Biden first starts off at 706,000. Trump is at 371,000.
You might recognize the bow tie voice in the background, but let's just watch.
So here's another instance of drastic vote swings earlier on election night.
Okay, so let's take a look between 9:11 p.m. and 9:32 p.m. on CNN. Joe Biden first starts off at 706,000. Trump is at 371,000. Look at that. How did Joe Biden drop to 517,000 from 700,000? Now Joe Biden gets 300,000 votes. How is this possible? And Trump is crawling along down there from 360 to 385,000. Joe Biden going up to 871,000. And all of a sudden, Trump gets a large increase to 413,000. And then instantaneously drops down to 292,000. And Joe Biden going from 880,000 to 495,000. How can you drop literally half the amount of votes that you had when all voting is done in an additive process? You count a vote, you add it to the total. Votes do not go down. Why are we seeing negatives? And look, we understand that mistakes happen. We've said it before that a human can make a mistake and a machine can make a mistake. But should one error result in a swing of 300,000 votes? Okay, so if we take a look at Pennsylvania, we talked about a 19,000 vote switch that occurred. And let's say this was one human error. But what about all these? Are these all innocent errors as well? And what about all these all over the country? How many errors are okay to have in an election? How many votes were changed by these errors? And who is claiming responsibility for these errors?
Now there's your election expert in his bow tie. Praise Jesus! Sent to 700 some odd speaking engagements. Sent to every state. Except they forgot to tell you that data that appears on the television screen does not come from the actual tally machines. I've told you that. You've seen the interviews with the company. What you see on the television screen is not the actual vote. It is estimations. And they do it by dialing for dollars. They get about 3,000 workers they pay to dial precincts, to look at information, and they're doing it. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't nefarious. That was part of the con. See, they needed you to believe, oh, he infiltrated Antifa. Oh, it's the machines are going to fix it. And for the first time in history on television, you see number swings. Never happened before. Why did it happen then? And you bought it. That's changing the vote. Oh my God, they took away votes. No, they didn't. Totally non-enforceable by law because it's a voluntary reporting system for entertainment, has nothing to do with the certification of the election or the actual numbers at the time they're reported. All of this was designed to make you look away from the paper, from what the real truth was. And you bought it hook, line, and sinker. I was there. I watched it. I was there. Oh, they changed the votes. I saw it. I was there. You didn't see them change the vote. You saw them change a fucking number on Chiron on TV, which is not the vote, never the vote, never has been the vote, never been relied upon as being accurate, is only an estimator, doesn't actually come from the machines, comes from many different sources of people dialing and entering in. But magically, for the first time in history, doing it. Now, let me ask you a question. If you wanted to convince people to focus on the machines and never back away from it, you kind of got to give them proof to buy into, don't you? Well, isn't it interesting? We got, I infiltrated and an executive from the company said they're going to fuck Trump. Oh, we got it all in 3,000 counties. We got every bit of it. You're going to see it. You're going to be looking at the election. Lawmakers can see it. And you have the magical changes on TV. Is that a coincidence? This is the same coincidence of everything originating out of Colorado? These are the things I can't resolve. Go back and find that glitch. See, they're basically shitting in your cranium. That television element was created back in the Kennedy days for entertainment. There is no direct connect to the machines. How stupid is it? Let me just give you an example. Let me just give you an example of how fucking disconnected people are. Those machines aren't supposed to be connected to the internet. That's a crime. Oh, wait, the TV changed. I saw it change. How does it get to the fucking TV station? You can't be both. You can't be pissed about one and, oh, that's the real shit about the other. You can't have both. And you can't even see that. You can't even see it. It's because this is psychological warfare and it's coming at you. It's coming at you, right? It's coming at you, period. What am I trying to teach? Open your eyes, stop buying the con, and focus on people, paper, and programs. The only thing that results in a criminal prosecution is showing the actual ballot was changed. A guy, Nuke Nomad said, a guy once told me he had a shredder truck at Georgia warehouse, but I don't have the evidence to prove it. Maybe you forgot I'm the guy. Maybe you forgot I released the pictures. Maybe you forgot I showed you. Maybe you forgot that I said Mark Meadows got involved. Maybe I showed you the stuff we pulled out of the trash. Maybe I showed you all the receipts we pulled out of the trash. There hasn't been anything I've told you that I haven't shown you. You might be mistaken there. Maybe you came in late because you haven't been following me every single day, right? Nuke says, I didn't forget that, Jovan. Did it end up in a court of law? Yeah, Nuke, did you file a lawsuit over it? Answer the question in chat. Did you file a lawsuit over it? On my end of the world, as an investigator, all of it was seized by the federal government to get to the point to create no evidence. But you seem to think that forensic investigators are the ones that brings the lawsuit. No, they're the expert witnesses. The state, the county, the people have to bring the lawsuits. So, Nuke, which county and state did you file a lawsuit in? I'll wait. Because obviously you're an active citizen. Obviously you're an active citizen who has a right to vote, who believes in your state, something was compromised, and you filed a suit. Again, people don't understand this. You don't just random file a suit. You have to have the premise to show you were violated. Don't you understand that hack? They hacked the lawsuits 2 different ways. Number one, they told you, or 3 ways. They told you it was the machines, but couldn't prove it. All of the lawsuits did the same thing. They jumped state court and went right to federal court. Why? Because the federal court kicked them out saying you don't have standing. But what was the standing? We have state elections. The state runs the election. You got a problem with the election, you got to go to the state and you got to sue for the state. You don't go right to the federal thing. But all of those things read federally. That was a hack. Here's the next hack. Fraud, 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 fraud. Except you forget, in elections, the only people during elections that can claim fraud in real time, the state attorney general, the secretary of state, and the governor of the state with the county attorney. They can say it and file on it. Outside of that, it has to be adjudicated through the courts. But then there's a problem. If you claim fraud, one word, and everybody was trained to say fraud, 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 fraud. That one word takes it out of state jurisdiction and bumps it up to the Department of Justice, otherwise known as, at the time, as Merrick Garland. So every one of the lawsuits claimed fraud. Well, see, fraud has to be determined. It can't be proclaimed. So that means nobody proved fraud. They just said it was fraud. That triggered it out of the state, sent it to the federal. The federal says, this isn't fucking fraud. You haven't proven shit. Go back to the state. And there it got caught. But it's because everybody was trained to say fraud. Actually, it's maladministration. And go look at every lawsuit filed by a Democrat which stopped an election, overturned an election, or made a redo of an election. What is it based on? Maladministration. But people don't see this. But people don't do this. Why? Because it all was propaganda. It all was a rig. The only thing that has criminal prosecution points is to actually show the changing of a vote, that it was actually affected. That means the physical ballot changing from what it was supposed to be to what they said it was to what it came out being. The also part is what is they said happened. You only prosecute against what they said happened, okay, versus what actually happened. Now, what's the difference between said happening and actually happened? Do you know what that is? What is the difference between saying something happened or something actually happened? Well, let's just take Maricopa. They said that basically 90% of the ballots were mail-in ballots. And they said X number of people came in early, X number of people came in on election day. Just take those things. They said we had this many mail-in ballots. We had this many people come in early. We had this many people come in on election day. Now, there's only a few things that can actually prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And one of the things that can prove the circumstance by which the ballot got there is the physical ballot. Here's why. If you had to describe an election day ballot, that means it's the official ballot or a mail-in ballot, the official ballot mailed to everybody, then here's how you would describe it. It's this piece of paper of this quality, it's color, it's folded in these places because it was electronically mailed. So you have a way to define, was this an original ballot that was mailed that came back as a mail-in ballot? Get it? Now, the next type of ballot is an early voting ballot. See, I don't deal with parties. I don't deal with the machines. Well, what's an early ballot? Well, you walk your ass into an early vote. You say, I'm here to vote early because I don't want to vote by mail. And what do? Well, they print you a new ballot. Now, the way they track it is that ballot's black and white. The mail-in ballots are color. The mail-in ballots are folded at an exact 100% the same every single fucking time machine. And you can prove they went through the system. That's a mail-in ballot that goes out and comes back. In an early vote ballot, you walk your ass in. So they're going to reprint it. Reprinting of that ballot is black and white. Now, another way you tell it's a walk-in is you can do it right now. Fold a piece of paper like you're folding a letter. Think how many times you folded or refolded a letter because you didn't fold it right. Well, you never get that right. But see, you fold it in equals. The mail-in ballot doesn't come that way. And so I can look at the folds and tell you it was folded by hand. It was a left-handed person, a right-handed person, and they're all fucking all over the place. So it's very easy to define what was a walk-in early vote. We got something to measure it against. The last one you get to measure it against is election day voting. Now, in election day voting, here's what we know. The paper's flat. They don't hide it. They don't fold it. They don't drop it in a ballot box. It wasn't mailed. It's black and white. It's black and white. Right? And that ballot has a special code on it that basically states it was, in fact, an ED, an election day vote. Here's the numbers. All this is, and what I do, is what did they report? What was it really? Now, here's an interesting thing if you look at it. They said there should have been 84.13% folded ballots. Not a single district should have had a number that exceeded 84.13%. Now, if you look at machine folded, when you're just measuring that, right? Machine folded, you look at every category. Every single district failed. Every one of them failed. So now what we know by this point is, wow, they really didn't have a shitload of mail-in ballots. They lied. Now we move to the next category. The next category was the people that walked in to vote. Well, that average should have not exceeded 7.53%. We can tell what those are. Every one of them broke that number higher. And then we look at election day where there should be no folds, right? And there should have been 8.34%, and every of them went up. But isn't it fucking interesting that they still all perform out to 100%? When you can clearly see the origin of the paper, the color of the paper, the type of the paper, and what the process it went through says you're fucking lying. And then you look at their machines, and here it is. I know it's a little hard to see, but you're looking at, they said they needed 10 extra days to count. There's just so many we need to count. Well, okay, I just measured that. You said you were overwhelmed with the counting and you needed more time. So we just asked a simple question. Okay, leading into election day, when you said you were backed up and needed 10 days, what were you using to count? Well, they were using 10 tally machines. I got the numbers of every one of them. On average, they were actually running through about, we'll call it 140,000 ballots a day. So now what do I have? I'm only looking at what their own information. We had 10 machines going. We could do 140,000 a day, and shit, damn it, fuck doodle, we're backed up and we still have a lot to count. So then we just draw a demarcation line. Vroom. Okay, here's what you were doing. Here's when you said you need more time, and here's the more time you took. Well, here's what it looks like. When you look at the more time they took, that's the dotted line down the center, and that's the right side of election day. You actually find out, yeah, they did have one day was about 90,000 ballots, but the average going through that was really only about 5,000 ballots a day. 2 of the days they didn't fucking count. And by the way, they only used 2 machines. Now you tell me, why do you need more time to count for 10 days when instead of doing 140,000 ballots a day using 10 machines, you went to 2 and you barely did 6,000 ballots a day, and 2 of them you didn't count? And then you tell me why. Why in the fuck did you run in over 118,000 ballots 1 month after the fucking election? Oh, and then you look at those, and there was no chain of custody. every one of them were changed. See, that's forensics, folks. I don't give a fuck which computer did it or whatever. The paper doesn't lie. It's a physical object, and what does the law require? Physical documentation. If you don't understand what evidence is and you don't play to win, we lose. If you believe the rhetoric bullshit that's out there, we lose. We lose our country. And that is what I fight against. This is why they kept you away from the paper, and this is why they put so many people on the road. I will draw your attention to this code up here, because here's the deal. This evidence is monumental. This evidence is history-making. This evidence has never been had before an election. And in fact, if you go back and look at fucking hanging chads, they were dealing with less than 60,000 ballots, and we had to look at over 2 million. It's historic, folks, but they don't want you to know the facts. And that's why they play this game. And this is why we need your help. I need you to share this program.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or 6-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.
You fight for free and fair elections. Invent and scan the ballots of kinematic artifact detection. You love to read and learn, travel and explore. You're a fearless, braveheart patriot who's opened doors. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. You lead by God and always do what's right. In the battle for our nation, you lead the fight. We pray for your safety, the armor of God to protect you from all of us. Here's a thank you for all that you do. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. Jovan, you're a hero we stand behind. We're inspired by the fire inside your eyes. American proud, we know you'll fight till your dying day. And we'll always stand behind you through everything. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior.